Here, guys, by the way.
All right, we're good to go.
Good evening. We're going to call the Bath Charter Township Board of Trustees meeting for Monday, January 5th to order. Welcome, everyone, and Happy New Year. Glad to see you. Let's start with a roll call.
Mr. Funes Bliss?
Here.
Ms. Butler Challenger here. Ms. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Hagerman?
Here.
Mr. Kotke?
Here.
Ms. Kellerman and Mr. Rosecrans are absent this evening.
Next up on the agenda, and there are copies on the lectern if you'd like to follow along, as well as...
I'm getting to it.
Okay, it will be up on the screen. We're going to do our civic reflection, which is the Pledge of Allegiance to start, and then ending with a moment of silence. So please stand and join us if you're able for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and now a moment of silence. Thank you.
Karen's adjusting.
There you go. Thank you, Karen. It's coming right
We're
now.
like,
It's
it's
heating up in here.
We'll be shivering up a sweat here pretty quick.
furnace hasn't worked for 2 weeks and now it's working.
Item 3 is the approval of the agenda. I have not heard anything about changes to the agenda. If there are any, please make them known. If not, we can approve the agenda as provided.
Motion to approve as provided.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All of those in favor of approving the agenda as provided tonight, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Item 4 is disclosures of conflict of interest. Does anyone have a conflict of interest with the topics we're discussing today?
I do, potentially. My dad is one of the ZBA appointees.
Great.
You bragging or?
Nope.
Just bringing awareness.
Which one?
Bill.
Bill? Okay.
Great. Anybody else? All right, you can still vote on that unless you're asking us to excuse you from the vote. I don't know that that's necessary.
Okay.
Great. Item 5 is public statement 1. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on any topic that is agenda related tonight for up to 3 minutes. There will be a second opportunity to discuss board business at the end of the meeting with any topic that you'd like to discuss. If you want to address the board, please step up to the lectern, introduce yourself, and we'll start your 3 minutes.
John Wright, Planning Commission. It's come to our attention because I had a number of discussions with people that are in the transition between starting a business in a baker's operation and then progressing to a rental space that's dedicated for small business startups, that they're using their daily driver pickup and a large trailer as part of their business. And at the time we approved the site plan, we didn't make any requirements that the developer place a turnaround area that they could turn around that size vehicle. So I would think it would be wise to add a condition to the development site that there be a dedicated area that they can use to turn around a truck with a large trailer. And I just talked to the developer about it as well. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Would anybody else like to address the board? All right, hearing none, we will move on to item 6, which is items from county, state, federal, and other agencies. I do not see any of those folks present, and I don't know that we were expecting them. So we'll move on to item 7, the consent agenda, of which there is none tonight. So on to item 8, the approval of the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes, minutes from December 15th regular meeting and minutes from December 29th special meeting. I'm glad you could turn those around so fast. I know
Okay.
they were really bulky.
And we had closed session on December 15th also.
Okay.
So there's 3 minutes.
It says minutes for
Yes,
meetings on the
correct.
15th. Do you just want us to say meetings or do you want us
Meetings
to
are
say
fine.
special? Okay.
Minute.
So 3 sets is what we're
Yeah.
presenting tonight.
You're gonna do that.
Do you want me to make the motion? Are we there?
If you'd like, yeah.
Okay, I'll make the motion to accept the minutes of the board meetings of December 15th, 2025, and the Board of Trustees special meeting from December 29th.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept all three sets of the minutes as presented tonight. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of approving all three sets of minutes as presented tonight, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. That brings us to the approval of vouchers. Hopefully everyone signed off on them in the office today. Are there issues with the vouchers, or does someone want to put a motion forward to approve them tonight?
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the vouchers as presented tonight. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Can I just make a comment first? The vouchers out there, this is the first time we'll have 2026. So you've got 2025 and 2026 vouchers, so you'll need to pay attention to the top of the sheets out there.
There's four total, right?
Well, the ones out there right now are just 25s.
You've got 3 that are 25, and then you've
Oh,
got
the
one that's
payroll.
the 26.
Oh, that was
Payroll's
why.
Yeah,
26.
just so that you guys are aware. Okay?
Still has our little line for our name
Yes.
though?
Yes.
Okay, that's where I put it.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Mr. Kotke?
Yes?
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Fewens Bliss?
Yes.
Thank you.
That motion passes. That brings us to item 10, the treasurer's report. We will not have one of those until next meeting. We're looking forward to that. Item 11 is committee appointments, of which we have 3. We have 2 reappointments to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Bill Sealanders and Rob Haran. And we have a third appointment of a new member to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Jim Filipich. Would anyone like to discuss those folks? Would anyone like to put a motion forward? I know that 2 of them are here tonight. We can welcome them to say something if we want. It's up to the board's delight.
Their credentials look admirable. I'll make the motion to approve.
Can we make 2 votes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Which one would you like?
The first one.
All right. I think you want A and B together, is what you're saying?
Yes. The reappointments.
The
Is that
reappointment.
okay?
The reappointments, yeah, that's,
So your motion is to approve the reappointments?
the reappointments, correct.
Sealanders and Haran. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do they have comments?
Any comments from gentlemen?
Okay. Thank you for volunteering.
Yes.
You don't object to us appointing you then, right?
Oh, I'd just like to work more. I only made 23 bucks.
I'm gonna give you a raise.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. We had some discussion. Are we ready to vote, everyone?
You can do it.
All right, we'll take a voice vote. All right, voice vote. This is all those in favor of approving the reappointment of William Sealanders and Robert Haran to the Zoning Board of Appeals with terms ending December 31st, 2028. Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome back, gentlemen. We have a third applicant for appointment for the ZBA. How would we like to handle that tonight?
I'll make the motion to appoint him to the zoning board of appeals ending December 31st, 2028. Is this for alternate?
Yes?
Oh, it doesn't
It
say,
doesn't say that, but I
Yeah.
thought
Doesn't
it
say
was. Okay,
could you remember seeing that?
we talked about it.
Yeah.
I asked.
I don't remember the
I didn't see
conversation.
it in anything.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
asked because they were reappointments, so that's why I asked earlier today.
Okay. Didn't know if there was a vacancy or not. No, okay.
Not that-
There's a vacancy for an alternate, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve that appointment
As an alternate?
as an alternate,
Thank you.
as not stated.
Is there a second?
Jen?
I made the motion already.
Oh, I'm
He's
sorry.
seconding it.
So raise, okay.
Oh, thank you very much.
Jim, do you have anything you want to say?
No, actually, this was kind of a surprise, but you've probably seen my resume, you know.
Yep.
And we couldn't be happier to be back in Bath Township after a 40-year hiatus. And
Wow.
could not be happier. So, thanks for the consideration.
Welcome back.
Thank you for
Yeah,
applying.
thanks for getting right to work.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a motion, and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote on the appointment of James Filipich to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate with a term ending December 31st, 2028. Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Welcome. Township Committee reports, item 12, we have none. Item 13, unfinished business, we have none, which is unusual. But that does bring us to item 14, plenty of new business tonight. Large A, items for introduction and discussion. Small A, we have a special use permit amendment for Bath Township Equity Group LLC. And we have our planner here to address
He's
us.
sitting in, I have one question while he's getting up to the podium. Are we gonna remove 12 from the agenda?
Right now?
Well, we could, cause then it would be ready for next month, or next meeting.
I don't think so.
Because
Okay.
we still have some committees.
Okay, I just,
Not at this time, that wasn't my plan at least.
okay. Sorry, Miles.
No, you're all good. All right, how's it going, board? So before you tonight is amendment to special use permit. The amendment distinction is important, at least for my purposes. So as you might know, on the site in question, we're talking about 7733 Saginaw. This is the site that has the Dunkin' Donuts, the floor shop, it's a 4-unit retail fourplex. The portion of that property just to the north is kind of a vacant site area right now before you get into East Lansing storage. So just to orientate everybody, that's the area we're talking about. The developer is seeking to utilize that vacant area on the site for the purposes of what they're calling flex storage. This land use goes by a few different names, but it's kind of an up and coming, hotter topic land use right now. Essentially what they are is, it's similar to what most people think of when they think of kind of traditional storage, which is I have too much stuff, I can't store it in my garage anymore, I need to take it somewhere and pay somebody to store it for me. These are on a larger scale, so this would be like a good example that I think we use at the planning commission, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, but well, good. I run a painting company and the company is growing and I can't store this paint at my house anymore because my house is full of paint. But it's not to the point where my company needs a dedicated storefront operation yet. This is kind of a good middle space for that up and coming entrepreneur, kind of light commercial venture. The developer is seeking to have half baths in at least some of these units, so essentially a toilet is gonna be in at least some of these units. All of them, okay. From the zoning perspective, this is under the development district. There's the access management overlay, which makes sure the township is in compliance with a lot of the standards that we have to comply with in terms of MDOT and traffic. All the different site review elements were obviously reviewed at the planning commission. The planning commission felt like the township ordinance was satisfied. The planning department also feels like the township ordinance was satisfied amongst those standards. After the site plan was conditionally approved, there were a number of outstanding items that the planning department worked with the development firm over the month of December to kind of cure. So good job to the developer and his team and Kev's Engineering for working with us on that. It's not light work, it's a lot. They were able to turn that around. We were able to get reports back from a number of our reviewing agency partners. Mainly, probably key on this site for concern was the drainage on this site. If people are familiar with the site and are familiar with East Lansing storage, I don't think the developer would make any bones about it either. Drainage has been a historical issue on that site, and it's something that the township and our partnering agencies wanted to pay close attention to. We feel we're in a good place with drainage at this point, thus the positive recommendation from the planning commission and planning department alike. So, with all that being said, are there any questions from the board?
I think Ray had some.
I can't see it on the, I was trying to find it on my phone so I can enlarge it. Are there overhead doors on each one of these?
There are, yes, each unit will have overhead doors.
Just one?
Yeah, one overhead door and then one person size.
Entry door.
Oh, man door, they call them. They should call them people doors.
Would they each include heating and cooling then too?
these will be climate controlled.
You could pass this down
Yeah,
today.
the developer
That's
can
what the
speak to a
planning
lot, if
commission
you don't mind the developer coming up. Is that, Chair, is that okay with you?
Yes.
Sorry, call the chair.
Travis passed it to you.
Just yell into the.
You're just yelling.
You're pretending that a microphone is there?
Just yell.
Yeah, just to, reiterate a little bit of what Miles, explained, the overall concept for development, there isn't really a clean classification for it because it lives in between a couple different land uses, but we call it small bay, some people call it flex space, in this case, we're calling it flex storage, cause that kind of fit the box best with what the township had, but, as Miles explained, you know, a typical tenant mix would be, not somebody that so much needs like a storefront where they're gonna interact with customers, but any kind of small business, hobbyist, maker, as John, as the chair of the planning commission had described. You know, all the folks that kind of need a pole barn but aren't allowed to build one, or can't afford to build one, or it's not, doesn't quite work, right? So it's a really wide use group. Each unit that we design has a 14-foot overhead door, and then you know, a person door and a half bath in the back of it. We learned a lot at our storage facility there. You know, a lot of people in this community are trying to operate small businesses out of space that's not really suitable for that. So this is you know, much more suitable for that. One example is we have a company there that, you know, kind of distributes like the water coolers to a lot of businesses in the area. So they rent a bunch of storage units and they're trying to have their employees go through them, and you know, they're not really appropriate for that. You know, where do you go to the bathroom? Where do you organize your stuff? It just doesn't work right. So this community is full of those types of people that are trying to do small operations, don't really have maybe the resources to run a big, huge industrial or commercial building, but have a legitimate business or legitimate interest in doing something like that. So yeah, they're pretty nice looking buildings for what they are. We tried to put a little bit of architectural detail in the front of them, and we're really excited to do it. So does anybody have any questions?
Ray, did you have anything else?
No, they're all open, like, when you open that front door, you can see all the way front to back, the whole thing's open.
Yeah, so it's just about a 25-foot wide by 50 or 60-foot
Right.
deep, wide open space. And somebody asked a question about HVAC, so each one does have its own heating unit in it. So, you know, the tenant can, you know, keep it warm all winter, and not freeze. Like a painting contractor,
All right.
just put paint in the unit and freezes it, and all the paint.
Yeah, I see them as a rental pole barn, is what I see it as.
And I think,
Practically what it is.
sorry. I think we asked this to the planning commission, but I don't remember. Drains, will they have drains? Like, thinking about the painting analogy, there's a lot of paint equipment to clean up, so
Yeah,
would
so
there
drains
be?
are a really complicated one that we have spent an agonizing amount of time thinking about. It would be really nice if they all had floor drains. The problem is when you put floor drains in, people put the wrong stuff down. You know, so if you have a painting contractor, and we're on a private septic field here, right? We have to maintain and make sure that whatever
That would be
is
ugly.
going is not gonna destroy what we have going on. So we pretty intentionally deleted floor drains from the program, just to avoid, you know, we're not gonna have like we provide a copy of our lease and kind of our use table for how we imagine these spaces being used to the township. You know, like, let's say a guy or a person works on tractors as a hobby, you know, they might change the oil in that tractor once a year. You know, we're gonna allow that kind of thing, but we're not gonna allow like an oil change, for example. So there's a bunch of little subtle, what's allowable, what's not allowable stuff included in that use table. But yeah, if somebody changed an oil in a unit, and there's a drain in the floor, there's a good chance that oil ends up in the drain.
Is that verbalized on your
Yeah.
leasing agreement?
It is.
So it is a long-term lease, or is it month to month, what?
They're 1 or 2 year leases, so.
Oh, okay.
Whereas in typical industrial, it's like a kind of a barrier to entry for a lot of small business people. Typical industrial, because we have some larger industrial buildings, and they're typically 5, 10 year leases, so.
Wow.
It doesn't really make sense for the burgeoning business person, right, to enter into that one.
Yeah, I have no idea how these things go, so these are more personal questions.
So longer than a month-to-month deal you'd have at a storage unit, but shorter than a big industrial building lease typically.
So all of them are gonna have this multi-year lease and, okay.
Without the drains, do you think folks will be incentivized to pour things into the ground?
Good question, and I sure hope not, and it's
Right.
specifically prohibited in our lease to do stuff like that, but people are people, and we have to fight against these kind of things all the time, right? So it's our interest to keep the site nice, it's our interest to not contaminate the site, right? Because it creates long-term problems for us, and we own all the property surrounding it, so we're not, you know, if I live right in the area, I don't wanna contaminate my own water table, for example. You know, so, but yeah, these are practical challenges that when we build and rent anything, we have to wrangle with. But I'd certainly hope that it wouldn't, certainly at some point someone will try.
Yeah.
When I see you, I seem to recall reading about it, on the police, narrative on here, but 24/7 security cameras?
Correct.
Are they on all four corners? They're not inside the
I
units?
think we have like 12 cameras back or something for the development. So when you combine that with all the cameras we have behind it and all the cameras we have in
Right.
front of it, it's quite a lot of cameras there. So
I know you have them up by Duncan and the marijuana place, so.
yeah, so we like cameras, you know, cause stuff happens, you know, like it's the storage business, people drive through the gate, steal stuff, and all kinds of stuff happens. And we're always tracking down stuff on the security cameras, and they're really valuable for that, so. It helps protect our asset, and helps protect the folks that lease there.
And I have one last question, I hope you don't mind. Hasn't really got anything to do with this, but that long gravel driveway that goes back down into the property, do you own that as well?
On the east side of the property,
Yes,
that's Hosford's Drive.
it is still Hosford's, okay, I didn't recall if you had purchased the whole thing.
Over
or-
it, but we don't use it,
Yeah,
so.
always wondered why he didn't improve that, but,
Cause he wants it
Well,
himself.
you grab a lot of heavy stuff down,
Yeah.
so you pave it and you're maintaining it, so. But this will kinda, actually, when you put the buildings on the east boundary of the property, plus the trees that got planted on that property line over time, it'll kinda like isolate that drive to where it's not really visible to anybody other than right when you're looking down straight down.
all right, thank you. I'm
I
all
know
done.
when you first put the building on the land that you had talked about perhaps using some of this other land for other marijuana uses. I assume that's out now?
Yes,
Oh,
as we all know, that industry has shifted. Yeah,
time.
those dreams passed a couple of years ago, and, we've been marketing the site and talking to a couple of people about potential other developments, and, we looked at a couple detailed developments, some were exciting, some were very not exciting, you know, one thing we looked at was a Dollar General, and we were just like, stuff like that was really all that was feasible for the site, so, we decided, hey, what do we need, and what can we do ourselves, and that's where we came up with it.
initially, that was right, isn't this the exact footprint where that marijuana grow facility was gonna go?
Yeah, same
Yeah.
area, yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, for the township, it's a more practical, valuable use, I think, that will help support a lot of people in the community that run little businesses and do cool little hobby things. One of my favorite part about that particular asset is it's super fun to interact with the people that rent them, because you just have a lot of interesting people doing interesting things, so being able to kind of provide that space and interaction is cool.
I got a question. In your lease, I hope it keeps people from trying to live there.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're going to like, honestly, you're gonna have heated, it's got a bathroom,
Through a bad
and
divorce,
it's,
and
and
that's where you
it's
land.
expensive to rent now, so I'm like, I'm
We're not
hoping your
talking about
lease won't
doing it.
allow people to live in those
We had a
units.
pretty extensive conversation about that at the planning
Okay.
commission, and, we're even more interested in that than the township probably, because we've had a slew of experiences with people trying to do that at the storage
Right.
units and other stuff.
Oh, man.
It's uncomfortable and inappropriate, and
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really fit with, the land use, so.
Okay.
Is it appropriate for us to see a copy of the lease or no?
Oh, we provided it already.
Did you?
It's
Okay.
probably in
I
the
didn't see it in
planning
here, so,
departments.
yeah,
We have the copy if you want.
all right.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Okay.
created like a whole, I mean, we put a lot of effort actually into the lease.
It sounds like it,
just
yeah.
'cause you can go through every single use type and, well, what if this, what if that?
Yeah.
So we spent many hours just.
We call that a
figuring it.
CYA clause.
Yeah. Exactly, so, we provided that to Miles, and there's kind of like a use table that we've created that looks a lot like your, like planning and zoning documentation, it's like this is allowed, this isn't allowed type stuff. And then in the lease language prohibits a whole bunch of stuff, and gives us authority to,
Cool.
people out for a whole bunch of different things.
Okay.
And no storefront, right? There's no like transaction of business in that way?
Like, I anticipate every once in a while, somebody might have like a customer come to their place, right? But it's not geared for that, right? So it's geared for, non-public facing
Yeah.
businesses. But,
Okay.
we say in the lease, you're not allowed to have customers come to your place, but we also acknowledge the reality that if you have some kind of business, you're probably gonna,
Yeah.
at some point, need that sort of, even though we disallow it, we're still kind of trying to accommodate for very light public facing
Yeah,
uses.
could have somebody with a trailer come over and, because of a heavy item having to be loaded or something.
Yeah, exactly, like, there's so many.
That's inevitable.
So many difficult to predict things, and, even as John brought up, it's a tight site, and people they don't necessarily think ahead with, when they're towing trailers. So, creating a dedicated trailer turnaround spot was something we were talking about before the meeting, and I think there's a spot on the site that we could try to incorporate that pretty easily.
So that's not a big deal if we add that as a condition of
No.
approval for tonight?
As long as we can be practical
Does it
about
have
how
like
it
a
works.
drive all the way around?
There's probably not like a huge area for a full, no reverse turnaround, but if we have like a dedicated, 40-foot deep space or something that we could. Yeah,
Yeah.
turnaround, I think we can accommodate that. Even though there's no reason in the world we want to do it, I still see people pulling there with 53-foot semi-trailers and somehow get out.
I don't know.
You got this?
Yeah, it's a thing, so accommodating is intelligent, we're open to that.
Miles, is that your recommendation to us, that we should include that?
That's why
I mean, I don't think it could hurt anything, there's no
Give you kind of a
downside to
better
the
feel
board
for what it
putting
looks
that on.
like.
If it's developers for it, I don't see why.
Are our fire
There's
trucks
no risk
gonna be
to
able to
it.
get in
We already
and around?
analyzed it from the fire
Okay.
truck perspective and we felt comfortable with the site, but there's no downside to that.
It appears that you could pull all the way around and go out. Is that not correct?
Yeah, I mean, there are several ways you could
Oh,
do it
that's
in the
what I'm
existing
wondering if it was like-
configuration.
Yeah.
The parking lot that's actually on M78 is not heavily used, so like the east portion of that parking lot, you can fully turn around.
This
and
one, yeah.
back down to that, or have to go in these slants and storage. Yeah,
Okay.
which, that's all currently happens, so.
Something you do when you're pulling a trailer is, first, you look at how you're gonna get out before you go in.
I spent the last week driving around with you with a small wheel trailer, so.
Ask me how I know that.
Yeah, I understand the challenge, and I think it's not crazy to try to dedicate at least like a 3-point turnaround space for the trailer. I don't think there's one set for a not 3-point spot, but, we're happy to accommodate that.
Other questions for the developer?
I'm all set.
Thank you, sir.
I
Oh,
have one.
Sorry?
I just, because I am the treasurer, I looked and taxes have still not been paid for summer. So I'm hoping those are
For which parcel?
this parcel. So,
Yeah, I can check, I
okay.
was unaware.
Yeah, you're,
We can take
Part
cash
one.
right now.
no, I can't, cause I don't have that open.
That parcel apparently has tenants that are on triple net basis. so
Yeah.
they have to pay the taxes.
Correct,
That's
yeah.
the mechanism, so we
I was just like, the summer ones haven't been paid, so winter ones they have time still, but,
yeah. I'll make sure to check on that,
thank you.
because you gotta take the property and have to. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks. Miles, I counted 19 conditions in the recommendations. Are all of those still valid, or have some of those gone away?
Some of those have been satisfied by the cleanup work that the team was able to do over the break. However, in my experience, not even with this developer, but just in general, the conditions we have are kind of boilerplate at this point, but I would recommend including them.
Just leaving them there.
Just so we have them as tools in our toolbox.
My notes from the planning commission show we added, the lease review as a condition at our meeting, and then, the signage restrictions, just kind of
We got the s-
verifying that they're,
We got the signage one
yeah.
in there, can I talk about the lease one real quick?
sure.
The developer did provide us with their lease, we looked into their use tables, this is a little technical, but I wanted to bring it up before you guys even. So the actual
No, it's
land
these last
uses
two.
that are being amended here, or being requested to be amended, are the introduction of the storage land use, which is within the development district oriented by SUP, and warehouse, which, again, same thing. So that's what changed after a review of their use tables. We felt like, because of the conditions they place on the people that are gonna be renting, or individuals that are gonna be renting to, we felt like those did neatly fit in those. Trying to take a modern land use and pigeonhole it into something that is currently existing within the township's land use framework. Broader, like zoomed out though, conversation, when the comprehensive plan gets wrapped up, it's very likely that a recommendation will be to, review some of these legacy land uses and incorporate more modern language into some of these land uses that are becoming more popular, in 2025 plus. But yeah, to Kate's point, that was a condition, we looked at it, we thought it was good. If any of the board members are interested in the lease agreement, just let me know, and sounds like I'll email, Ray a copy, but if anybody else is.
Appreciate it, yeah. And again, it wasn't anything critical, I just was curious.
Yeah, no.
I will also share that I don't know if fast-tracked is the right terminology, but we opted at the planning commission to not have it as a second meeting and just to forward it to the board of trustees in, I guess, deference to the developer's timeline to try and make that happen. We felt like we had discussed it thoroughly enough at that particular meeting to not warrant a second one. But I certainly imagine that the trailer turnaround would have come up had we had the second full-scale discussion.
Did the planning commission vote on this at all?
It was unanimous.
Unanimous?
Yeah.
To approve, I assume.
Yeah.
I didn't go to that meeting, I feel bad.
I don't remember.
It was unanimous for everyone was there, I can't remember, I thought I remember one.
Yeah, that's good enough.
That's unanimous.
Any other questions for the planner?
Nope.
All right, so we'll see this back in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Miles.
Thank you.
Miles, will you add that 20th condition then?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. 14A, small b, plan for discussing revenue options. You all received the memo that's in the board packet. We had discussed during the budget process last year for this year that we clearly need to change revenue or expenditures or both moving forward because we don't have enough money in the fund balance to continue to draw from it each year. So what I have done is mapped out the different types of revenue that is allowed for a charter township, and I've assigned that to each of the next 4.5 months of our meetings so that we would talk about each topic during one meeting. We have some resources from MTA, both Jennifer and I saw a webinar on revenue that I thought was actually really good, that maybe we can help show pieces during the meetings. But the idea would be that we're sort of rolling right into the timeline of when Karen starts asking department directors for their budgets. So it sort of like gets us on the right track to the budget process, with the hopes that we would make some decisions as part of that process that would take effect then in 2027, depending on which of those we choose. Millages obviously have an election timeline on them, at least for the restricted ones. So that is what I'm proposing. I have some questions there to consider. I'm looking for really some guidance from all of you. Does that sound like the right way to handle this? Is there a different way? We could double up the topics and do it faster. We could have a special meeting and talk about all of them at once. What would be the best sort of use of your time and ability to take all of this information in?
Is this like an educational session? And if so, who's providing it?
We'll figure that out.
Okay.
It might be someone different for each one, depending on what
Okay.
they are.
Because I was thinking if it were kind of the same, like we did with the MERS, I sort of liked the full day training on that. I felt it was very useful. Because I feel like sometimes down the road, some of the questions I might have had in January
Yeah.
would change and evolve, but I don't know, with that big amount of time between them, it might take away from that. But if it is different people every time, then I suppose that doesn't lend itself to a one-day thing as easily.
I think we could figure it out, though, if
Okay.
that's what the board wanted to do. Some of it, I think we could do on our own, some of it we could do with this webinar and the materials we have. Our attorneys could provide some of it, our financial folks could provide some of it, so it could be just a family reunion and get everyone together that day and do it all in one shot if that's helpful for folks.
Will there be refreshments?
If you bring
If
them.
it's an all-day thing, probably.
And when you make that Starbucks run, ask around.
I
I'm
just
not
wanna
gonna let you
ma-
forget
I
that.
just want to make sure that we allow us enough time to be able to explain and educate ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah,
maybe
and there's
we
gotta be
set-
a little bit of discussion too about like what that means for us in this township.
Exactly.
One thing I asked, I can't remember what it was, but,
We did last summer, I think,
the tax thing,
in
Year-
summer 2025.
yeah, year to year, that would be something that hopefully would educate us, you know, to see at least the timeline of the revenue, tax revenue year after year, how it grew or how it didn't grow, and the percentile of how it grew without us doing anything versus, you know, what we need to do, so.
Yes, I reached out to our, what do we call Rod?
I would say
Finance
a
consultant?
consultant.
Who's been helping the finance committee to see if we could run some of those reports. Just running this report that I printed here on the memo was really telling. So I think if we look at other things in that same way, I think it also would be very informative.
Yeah, it's, you know, for us non-accountants, it's, that kind of data is important to
Yeah.
hopefully extrapolate what we need to know.
So are we for like doing it every meeting, or are we for like Kate, like the one day to try to learn? And then if we have to set a second one, we can do a second one.
Yeah, 1 day or 2 days, maybe, I feel like that's a lot of topics for 1 day.
Well, and
But
some
We
of
could do a
them.
lock-in.
Yeah. Well, and I looked today, cause I asked Brenda, if there's any millage that we have to put on the ballot, we have to have
Yeah.
the stuff to the county by April 28th.
Yeah.
So we are limited,
For the rest of the year?
correct?
Yeah, for
Cause
the,
that's for the August election,
Okay.
But
'Cause
the
I looked.
November election is a later date?
yes.
We'd have to check the dates.
We'd
I
have
didn't
to
bring the
check.
dates.
I only
Okay.
checked the,
I think it's June or something.
for the
like that.
August primary, I just checked for that day, and it's April 28th.
So the benefit to doing it 1 day is we do it earlier than that.
Yes.
That was my other concern, was how does that affect our timelines going forward based on the decisions we may make?
And
The
if we,
preferences we may have.
each one of those will be televised, hopefully, for the, so
Well,
that,
if
They'd
it's a
be
training
special
session.
meetings, so yeah.
okay. Well, that's what I'm, you know, that's kind of a given, but at least that would give the opportunity for the public to see, you know,
Our
potentially.
Yeah, and they
potentially-
could come and learn alongside us too. I do think that's one of the questions that I added to the list is how do we ensure that we're educating the public alongside us? Cause they're not gonna go through all of this with us, at least not a majority
True,
of them,
yeah.
so.
And some may want to,
Yeah, I hope they do, actually.
yeah.
Lizzie?
I was just going to, apologies, I was just going to remind the board that you can do those sorts of training things on general information, not specific to the township. So there could be a lane where you divided this into like, let me just learn the basics, the foundational pieces, you know, enjoy some webinar experiences, get some information from consultants that is not unique to your township, but helps you now have that working vocabulary and process mechanism in a training session. So that's not necessarily a public meeting unless you want it to be, which is fine. That's all permissible under the law. But I would encourage when and however you wish to have more detailed discussions about the township relative to those now foundational things that you have, that certainly would be something that needs to happen at a properly published meeting. And you can, there's nothing that prohibits you from doing everything at a special meeting or a regular meeting, of course. But I wanted to remind you of that opportunity. That's what made the MERS option resource, because that's just, this is what it all means. This is what these crazy words and terms and numbers all come together and mean for us. Which I do think was beneficial for our board.
Yeah,
Yeah, my concern is we're really bad about not making it about this township and our business.
I do not disagree with you.
I think it's natural to do that, and I think if we do want to educate the public, those education sessions would need some sort of openness to them.
especially,
But, you know, folks disagree that we could handle it the other way too.
especially with the subject matter.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of, they're meeting behind closed doors to talk about how to tax us more.
Yeah, let's say tension, how's that?
Yeah, fair, that's really fair. So there seems to be some interest perhaps in 1 day, maybe 2 day, depending on if we need it.
She's the teacher. I think you should have her set it up.
Kate's like, I don't have
I
the
think,
people.
Thanks, Ray.
And bring a gift basket when you come too.
would you all want a weekday or a weekend?
Not a weekend.
Weekday, that's hard for you and
Nah, I can
me.
figure it out.
All right.
You could be excused from school maybe.
To go to school.
So weekday during the day,
Yeah.
evening?
During the day, not during the evening.
Ray hates evening appointments.
Good thing you're on the board of trustees. Meet Monday nights.
That's about it.
Thank you. That's why I never go to those county meetings. Yeah, they start at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, then what I will do is come back next meeting with a proposal on some dates,
Okay.
and we can decide then.
Somebody can write that down so we can hold his feet to the fire.
I've written it down.
He wrote it down.
Okay.
Okay.
Look,
He's
there's a
got
whole
it.
section for action items on my notebook.
You'll just forget where you put that
Dates.
notebook.
Dates. So I just want to clarify, so we're going to talk about a couple dates, general information, and then after we get that all done, then we're going to maybe do the,
Jump into the categories.
yeah, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
My
Did you just say
understanding.
yes and then no?
I was like, no, that's not my understanding.
It was an option.
Okay.
But I understand the board consensus to do, we prefer to hold these as meetings so that people can come and sit and listen and learn at the
Yeah.
same time.
Okay, thank you.
But we
Is
can
that
hold
okay?
it like a strategic, like we did the strategic planning meetings.
Then
where
we
the
could
public was
talk,
open,
when
and
we
can
talk
still
about,
talk.
you know, millages, we could talk about what millages might work for us,
Okay.
because it would be open.
If I could, something I saw during the strategic planning is an individual or two may expect to come to those meetings and be able to ask questions. So I think we should frame it and have a clear expectation that if you come to these meetings, it's to observe, hear, and there's maybe a public comment, but if
Oh, you're
there's
saying
not
the
a.
public.
Yeah.
The public, that if the public has questions for our consultant, is it for the board or is it
That
for
would
the
be,
public to observe?
that would be an open session then, wouldn't it?
Correct, because I don't want to create the expectation that the public could come and ask our consultants questions
Right.
if that's not your intention.
Okay, we'll figure out how to do that then.
Okay.
You could do that.
Maybe in the posting, make something clear about that too.
I think that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're not town hall meetings, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we framed the last one as a workshop, and maybe that indicated to some people they would have the ability to have a back and forth.
Yeah. All right, that sounds like a good plan. Any other thoughts on that? All right, let's move on to item C, which is advisory committee transition. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Staff and I have put our heads together and are planning for the structure of the advisory committees, including the appointment process. There was a lot of questions surrounding that at the last meeting that we held when you made the decision on how to reformat some of the committees. So staff and I are working on that. We plan to inform you of that process here at your next board meeting. And we'll be able to have some dialogue on that. Following that board meeting on the 20th, the supervisor and I are going to meet with all current advisory committee members to talk about the new advisory committee structure, answer any questions, invite their participation, and of course, thank them for their service if they're no longer going to serve. So that is the plan. We wanted to lay that out in summary for you, so you had an idea of what was to come in the next couple of weeks, and see if you had any thoughts or questions.
I have a question. I'm just a teeny tiny bit confused about, should each committee still have a meeting? As, I thought they were like done with regularly scheduled meetings other than the Bark Lake Advisory Board and the other one.
Correct. So what we have, the schedule that we published that you all approved at the meeting in December is the schedule. The others are on an as-needed basis.
Okay.
So I'm not sure which ones you were
Well,
questioning
the
or.
first one comes to mind is senior services.
So they will hold until we have this meeting and are able to, so that they effectively no longer exist.
Correct.
So
And that
there's
was-
nothing to meet
That was
because of
my
your
understanding,
action.
but in case I get questions, that's,
Correct,
I wanna have an answer for Judy.
correct.
What we did do, and I think I CC'd you on this email to all committee members, is we will have a Monday, January
26th at 6
meeting
p.m.
of all committee members
Oh.
to hear more
Yep.
about the decisions we've made, the plan Karen has. So there is going to be some sort of transition, so it's not just, see you later, folks. They get to hear about it and
Yeah.
can express interest, I can imagine, in joining committees
Yeah.
if they'd still like to.
Well, you know, what brought forth that question by me is when you said, thank them for their service, so. If there are no meetings, I was just thinking, wait a minute, how's she gonna do that?
Yeah, that would be that January
That
26th
26th meeting,
meeting.
yeah.
And I don't know
Hopefully-
if that's something that you,
We got an email for that this afternoon. He may
Okay.
just not have seen his email yet.
I have not looked
so
at
check
my
your
Yeah.
email. There's a plan for that, so.
I was busy reading the agenda.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But certainly, and Ryan and I have talked about, I see your face is puzzled. What do you?
I was just looking to see if I invited people to the actual meeting.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that on that.
You did, you
I
sent
did,
an
great.
invite. I got an invite.
You did?
Yeah, you said maybe.
And then we were
It's not
gonna
mandatory for me to be there.
mail those, and then we'll be mailing those out as well, if they didn't already go out today.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you. I just thought
Yeah.
some of the folks would
So there is going to be
appreciate that.
communication, so this will not be a surprise for anybody, but there will be that.
I just would like to be ready
Dialogue.
for questions.
I understand that, and I
Instead of
appreciate
having
you
that
wanting to
big
be
blank look on my
prepared.
face saying,
I
"I don't know."
appreciate that. But then you can refer them to that they should be receiving something electronically as well as in
Okay,
the mail.
good. Thank you.
Any other questions for the superintendent?
Nope.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Moving to items for action. Item 14BA is the MACC grant application. As I was doing some exploration about looking for funds to help our art project, which I promised you all I would do when we passed the budget, I found a grant that seemed really perfect for that. It's the Michigan Arts and Cultural Council, fiscal year 26 Experience Support Grant. And it's designed for entities that are not art entities, that are primarily doing other things, which is obviously us, so I think we fit well into there. I thought I filled out the entirety of the grant form, but then when I read the packet, it seems like the last page must have slipped by me somehow.
Oh, the projects.
Because it like ends here, but then I guess there's a third page, so I'm sorry. Luckily enough, you all know the answers to those because we've talked about the project in depth, but apologies, I didn't see that when I filled it out. But what I'm asking for is permission from the board to seek that grant out for $20,000 to match our $25,000, which would give our art committee that we build a really good pool of money to do something for the 100th, what do we call it? Commemoration
Commemoration, yeah.
of the basketball bombing. Go ahead.
It says 25% matching requirement. So if we put forth 25,000, we could ask for 100,000. Is that not correct?
No. 20,000 is the max.
Oh.
For that, for project support.
Yep.
It didn't say that in here, so that was my
Yeah,
question
that was,
also.
you had the same question I
Maybe it
had.
was on page 3.
Was that the page you forgot?
And it may not be in here. It just says matching requirements is 25%.
Would the grant allow that money to also go towards like the ceremonies and all the pomp and circumstance that goes along with introducing this art to the community? That's a question that the museum committee has had with this money and these ideas. How can we support that? Is it specifically earmarked only for art or art and its introduction into the community? In whatever form it's gonna be, I mean, art can be a statue or it can be a lot of other things, so I don't know, but.
Yeah, I have not read through every bit of the eligibility guidelines, but what I took from what I did read is actually that might be more of what they normally fund, is some sort of
Ceremony type
action
stuff, okay.
rather than a piece of art. But pieces of art are also clearly lined out as being eligible.
Yeah.
So I think
Okay.
the answer to
So
that
if-
is yes.
Yeah, I would think
Okay.
that would
And I
fund
suppose we
the
could
art
check on that or
project.
add that little phrasing to the application, just so we have the leeway in the future to spend money that way. Because the committee, and Karen was at our last meeting, we're starting to kind of plan out timelines and what's gonna happen at different events. And so announcing the art, sharing the art, I don't know, grand unveiling.
Yeah, unveiling, yeah.
The word is gonna be part of that process, of course, so.
I anticipate we'll have to put a budget together for this, so
Okay.
we could allocate some
Okay,
funds
a little bit of
specifically
that.
for this. The application is due January 22, which is why I am asking for action tonight without you having seen it before. Otherwise, we'd approve it on the 20th and we'd have 2 days to go, which is really unreasonable.
So I do believe that we were the recipient of this award in the past, and it's actually what paid for the Westwasser art that was installed at Westwasser Park on the restrooms. And that was managed under former Superintendent Dan Letitia. And part of that project was the art supplies and hosting the events where the public came and participated in creating the art. So I do think that there is the publicity and the cultural event-related activities surrounding it
Would be allowable
definitely a
expenses.
part of that. So I think it's how we frame it and then manage the project. But I do definitely think that it's it's broader than just the piece of art. And I think that is something they desire, is the community-related participation and development of the project. So I think that is welcome. If I'm correct, and this is the same one, I think the organization has just undergone a name change.
Yeah, it
in the
used to be
last-
MACAC.
Yeah, I remember we used to have an acronym for it that was interesting. So I'm glad they rebranded. So yeah, I think that is definitely a part, is the community participation.
I have pictures of all of that too, if you ever need them.
Yeah, we have lots of them here too, so.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
good.
But that's good to
remember
know.
Somebody being there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Dan was at all of it, and I think taking photos, and we have.
They even had a cake.
Yes, lots of participation, so it
was
was
good.
great. Lots
Yep.
of, even our police officers and different members of our organization painting with the members of the public, so.
So will you, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine, thank you.
Will you make a note that, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. So we are going to contribute the full 25,000 that we had allocated, and not just 5,000.
Oh, for sure.
The 25% match is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Because if we say we've done a 125% match.
Yep.
That should mean something.
And you sent that fruit fly down here.
I know, it's flying around.
Keep it over there.
Normally, I would not present these things to you, staff would, but since this was my project idea, it's a
Yeah.
quick turnaround, I didn't want to burden staff. I will obviously have to ask staff for some pieces, but it's my intention to chunk this out quickly and.
Can I make the motion to approve the
Sure.
application process for this grant? MACC, was it?
Yeah.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I have this as a roll call, do you?
I think so.
I
Okay.
think it would be,
Mr. Cocky?
yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes,
Mr. Funes Bliss?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. That passes. That brings us to 14B, BBB. Disposal of township equipment, superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The Department of Public Works has, I should say, retired a 2022 Bobcat Toolcat that I will tell you has been the bane of my existence here at the township. Unfortunately, it came out of, it was manufactured during COVID, and it was not the quality of an implement that we would expect when we spend $60,000. So it is my pleasure to bring before you a recommendation to authorize the disposal of this vehicle. It will be traded in on the purchase of a case skid steer that the Public Works team has identified as part of the budget. And we will be receiving a healthy trade-in value for this, so I am at least pleased with that. It can be, its parting gift to us that it had a good value. So I'm happy to see this move along, and I would recommend that you authorize the disposal.
Questions?
None.
Do you have an expected trade-in value?
We do. It's nearly $40,000.
And that's already been built into the budget, right?
Correct.
That's just crazy. Take it, run.
Please. The whole thing, I think, almost immediately was redone. I threw such a fit over the quality of the vehicle, like two of the wheels broke almost immediately after having it and using it. And they were only gonna come out and redo those two, and I said, no, please do all four. Like, the thing has been rebuilt from head to toe, so and I think that is what has contributed to the value, is that it's almost completely
Got new parts.
brand new.
So we need action on this?
Please.
Please.
I would make the motion to approve that disposal
I'll
of the
second it.
2022 Bobcat.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second to approve the requested disposal of township equipment. Is there any other discussions or questions? All right, hearing none, is this another roll call? That's what I have, great.
Mr. Cocky?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Funes Bliss?
Yes,
Ms. Butler Challenger, yes. Ms. Hagerman?
Yes.
Thank you.
that motion passes. That brings us to the end of our business tonight, and we roll into the superintendent's report. Take it away.
Thank you again, Mr. Supervisor. As you can almost imagine, illness in the township offices has run rampant. I myself had COVID and missed your last special meeting. Thank you for the work you did at that meeting to help us wrap up the 2025 budget. We appreciate that, and so do our accountants and our auditors. So we will just continue to work through the flu and COVID and all the illnesses that are currently rampaging, and hope to keep everything moving as we can. We are still in the process of implementing our benefits. COBRA and the flex spending accounts are the last piece of that puzzle for us, and we're still working with our providers to get our cards and get our staff everything they need as they move into a time where they're going to appointments and expecting to spend those funds that they have allocated out of their paychecks. And we will, the first payroll deduction already took place. We were paid the last week of the year for January 2nd. So those deductions have already began being paid for and contributed to by our employees. So the budget for 2025, the treasurer and I will continue to work with our accountants on journal entries and those those last minute budget amendments that you all passed to prepare for our audit. The treasurer and I, again, as I shared, I think at the last meeting, have some concerns for the process that's unfolding. Thank you for your input, Mr. Supervisor, because that helps. I know you go through the similar process every year. So things are just kind of changing. I do anticipate that I will be bringing to you in the next year a contract either for a new auditor or for, we'll probably put out a request for proposals to look at firms, which means we can go with the same firm or we can transition to another firm for our auditing services, but that will come before you as you have some of these discussions. It'll be a relevant topic for you all to consider. Who does our audits on a going forward basis? Yes?
Is that a thing that you normally do, is switch auditors, or is there a reason behind this, or?
No, it's something that we've done regularly. We engaged with this party for 3 years. Previously, Maynard Crosterison is generally our accounting firm, so of course they can't conduct our audits, but we do a very large, I think the last time Treasurer Steve Westwasser and I put out a request for proposals, I think we invited upwards of like 10 to 15 groups to propose services for us, and we narrowed it down, did some interviews, and then brought a proposal here to this board for your review and approval. It is possible, we have done in the past, had them come in and do presentations to the board so that you can become familiar with them and know them a little bit before you make your decision. So I would anticipate a process much like that this time. Of course, the firm could bid again. They may or may not, it's their decision.
Do you think they will?
I do think they will. It's a matter of, I guess, integrity or public integrity that we put this process out to be looked at for all of you and for all of you to make a decision that you feel is best for the township when it comes to the auditing of our finances. And ensure it's being conducted in a way that is right and transparent. So it's important.
In your recollection, when you and Steve went over those proposals, were the monetary,
There is some
were
cost.
they close? No, I mean, were the bids close?
Some.
Okay.
Some were not. Some are expensive, much more expensive than we generally pay, so that is a factor in our consideration and should be in your consideration of that.
I've never done it before, so that's why I asked.
So it's reputation, it's who we've worked with before, who have we not. A lot of it is how you like it to be conducted and then presented to you. So there's a lot of elements that go into that.
And do you run that by Lizzie's firm too?
I think that Maynard may have had some input into that. That's probably more of a Rod Taylor and our team there at Maynard to assist us with than it is for legal. But
I didn't know, if
yeah.
you have to vet them or something of that nature.
yeah, they submit materials to us, but they're all outstanding. I would offer you that the people that put in proposals are serious, that they're not gonna put in a proposal unless they want the work, and they wanna work with us, so. I take that as a compliment as well, that many people basically bid to work with us, so.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah, it's an interesting process, and I'm
sounds
excited to share it with you, so we'll work through that process this year. The adapted 2026 budget has been distributed to departments and is on our website if the public has any questions. If you would like a hard copy that you can have travel with you or sit at your desk in your drawer, please let us know and staff will produce those for you. Just need to let us know that that is your wish. I had a lot of questions, I know Miles has left us, but the gas station development here on Webster Road, many of you had questions. We believe that the gas station is now through its process with Eagle permitting, and they are, yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, it's through the process. They are, and I haven't checked with Miles since I've been back this week, today, but it was my understanding that they could pick up their building permits. Whether or not they have is the other thing, because once they pick those up, their clock starts ticking for them to do certain things in certain timelines. So it would, it wouldn't be beside me if they waited a week or two before picking things up, if they wanted to make sure they had everything in line, so that once they get the permits, they can begin work, so.
Ironically, I literally was in Potterville and drove around that BP over there of the same owners. That was pretty ironic.
You should have tried their breakfast pizza.
Yeah, well,
It's very good.
I actually elected to stop in Hastings at this really cool restaurant there, so.
Well, good for you. But
Sorry to interrupt.
if we'll get the chance, but it's good. So, so I anticipate that they'll begin, pick that up and begin kind of that pre-planning work. I'm not sure how much work, dirt work or moving around dirt that they can do prior to, with the conditions outside, but I assume that once they can start work, you'll see some movement out front, on Webster Road.
I saw survey markers over there.
Good, that's good. I know it's a much anticipated project and people are very excited for it. The Eaton area ambulance saga is still ongoing. The draft contract is still floating between, I would have to say as of last check, I'm not sure we've received something from U of M Legal. This has been a painful process. It is a process that I don't think the three municipalities anticipated, enjoy, or are okay with. But a lease agreement for the use of the DeWitt Township facilities has to accompany the service agreement, and so it's been edited a great deal by the DeWitt Township legal team and their administration. At last turn, I think that is what we were waiting for to come back from U of M Legal. So none of our municipalities have had an opportunity to consider this agreement, and I don't think it will be available, I'm not sure if it'll be even available at the 20th, when we meet next. I am not going to be shy, they are not going to get paid. In the time frame, the January 1 was the time frame that they had indicated for payment, until this board has the time to consider it 2 times, and nitpick it apart if that is what you so choose to do. You will have that opportunity. We fast-tracked it back in June, and 6 months later, here we are. So I would like this board and my counterparts at DeWitt Township and DeWitt also feel it's important for their boards to have the time with the document to be able to look it over and question it. And if you would like those, possibly if you would like some of those parties to be here from Eaton area, we can arrange for that as well. But it is my intention for you to have 2 meetings, so if that takes us into February, so be it. And you will have time to really consider it. I still think it is a very good option. I am in no way discouraged by their performance. They have done well despite not having a contract, but I want to make sure that we are heard and all of our concerns are met before we move that forward.
And that won't affect service at all.
No, it will not. No, they have continued to service and take care of our people, and that is what I think is the most important thing out of all of this, is that they've continued to do that even though there's no contract in place. And then last but not least, during the holidays, before the holidays, I approved the contract for the treatment of Park Lake, the weed treatment. So the contractor will be able to prepare and obtain his permits from the state of Michigan. The Park Lake Advisory Board had requested that we conduct a request for qualifications or a request for proposals to look at the vendors that are treating and how they would treat the lake. So we will undertake that process with them, with their assistance, I hope, because they're a very smart bunch.
Is this PLM?
Yes, Park, yep. But the Park Lake Advisory Board, with their input, look at the vendors that would be undertaking this work. Because of course, they know the lake best and care for it greatly, and I appreciate their expertise. So we'll be looking to them to help us with that process. Again, they may.
So is that for the next year then?
Yes, for 2027.
So we've approved for the 2026.
Correct.
And
And then
2027.
And
we're-
then during
okay.
2026, we'll be looking at the vendor for
it.
2027. So that will eventually come to you as well, but I hope to have Park Lake Advisory Board and Dan Hayes and all of their expertise help us with that process. And we may end up with the same contractor, I am unsure, but it is very possible that it could be the same or it could be different. But they wanted to undertake that process and they requested that from me this year, and I plan to move ahead with those plans so that they can make sure they're getting what they need and the lake is treated as appropriate. So I appreciate their assistance, and they've willingly offered their services to assist. So, please.
Did you happen to see what I had proposed about looking into maybe a weed harvester instead of doing the chemicals every year?
I did not.
Okay, that was just an idea. Oh my gosh, this must have been 15 years ago, 10 years ago, that, it may have been Watecha, but anyway, somebody
Okay.
approved up to $25,000 for a weed harvester.
Oh,
And so I judiciously looked over the upper Midwest for one, and I actually found a couple, but
okay.
for some reason or another, we elected not to go that way, but there's a bunch of pluses and minuses, so I think at the Park Lake Advisory Board, we will be talking about that.
Okay.
Just to see if it might save, in the long run, save the township money, by just having one.
Yeah,
But Ben brought up some good points about, who's gonna run it and who's gonna maintain it. It could be leased, or you could have a company come in and do it, or
Okay.
something, but cost will be the biggest thing, and benefits,
Yeah.
so. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of
no,
that.
I was not aware of that, but obviously, we're open to all of the options. And I don't know, I've taken the tour, I think 3 times now
Yeah.
of the lake
You've been
on the
on that pontoon
pontoon.
a couple times.
I have a couple of times. Most recently, during your time, because you accompanied me, it's fascinating, and I know there are lots of options to dredging and to cutting the weeds and to not only just treating them with chemicals. So I know that there's a lot of thought and fact education that goes into those decisions, which is why I appreciate Dan and the rest of his team there with the Park Lake Advisory Board
Yeah, nothing-
assisting with that.
Nothing other than.
Air rating, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
all of those things have so much that goes into it.
That is a fascinating concept, but
Yeah.
I don't know. if it
The
would-
thing that I never really understood and I took away from those meetings was, filling in is what lakes are meant to do.
That's Dan's
It is
mantra
Dan's
right
motto,
there.
yeah, it is. It's what it's meant to do and it's doing what it's meant to do, so
Well,
when
if you ever want to see an example of that, an ideal example, right here, is, it used to be called Pollywog Lake, and then it was called Pollywog Bay, and it's on the Ide property, the
Okay.
the 83-acre parcel, and it has actually filled in.
Okay.
In my lifetime. We used to fish back there and hunt back there.
Okay.
And it was a small lake that was fed by Park Lake.
Okay,
But when they put the berm in.
The berm,
It shut it off.
Okay.
And so it's exacerbated the depth.
the fill-in
And it-
process,
But
yeah.
I mean, if you literally wanna see it, I have drone footage of it, and it's.
I
kind
would
of-
be interested in
It's
that.
kind of ominous, I mean, you could
It
see
is,
what.
it
Park
is,
Lake's
and I
doing.
never really understood that that's what Park Lake is doing, is what it's kind of meant to do,
Yeah.
and I never
Eutrophication
understood
is
that.
what it's called.
Yeah,
It's,
So-
so yeah, I'll forward that to you.
that's cool, thank you.
It's kinda neat to look at,
I would appreciate that.
not in a good way.
No, but it's a learning process. That's all I have for this evening. As we get back into the swing and things, I will have more for you going forward, especially at the next meeting, on the 20th. But getting back caught up today with staff, that's what we have on our plates. So, do you have any questions? Okay, thank you so much.
All right, that brings us to public statement two, an opportunity for the public to address the board on any other topics you'd like to about the township. Please step up to the lectern, introduce yourself, and we'll start your 3 minutes.
Dean
Welcome.
Balzer, Park Lake Road. Since we're behind the 8 ball, as I understand, as far as money goes, it's all you guys that handle the money, and I know some of you haven't been here the whole time. No, all of you vote on it.
Yeah, I know.
So I just don't see to where you guys deserve a raise. You guys voted yourself in one, but I don't think you deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ironically, that was one of my questions.
Anyone else want to address the board? All right. Hearing none, we'll move to board comments, and in a rare opportunity, Ray gets to start.
The only thing that sticks in my head came in here just recently in the blank space. There it goes again. And it was about the art project for the museum, or I mean, for, you know, the how do I wanna say, the remembrance of the Bath School bombing. Old Town has a nationally recognized art project every year with junk metal. And they have some unbelievable sculptures. And I just, in my mind, I came out with, what about the girl with cat done in stainless steel? So that we could sit her outside, you know, never would we set the original outside. But I think that would be something, you know, like 6, 8 feet tall, in a modern rendition of her with the cat on a pedestal in stainless steel that everybody could, I mean, it would, I envision something like, almost like windswept, you know, where you see her skirt and her hair blowing from, you know, and have her displayed somewhere prominent. I think that'd be a great possibility. But that's just one, you know, one idea. We don't even know where we're going with this, but especially Kate, she's, you know, an integral part of the museum committee, so she could bring that up with them and see what they think. And I have a professional artist in the family that I think I could have bring up some renditions maybe, that we could look at. And then we would have the problem of finding who could do it. And the cost, we would be limited by.
Let's
Just
get
an
a
idea.
committee together first.
Just an idea.
We need a committee for that.
Yep.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope. I only have so much room, so that's what I came up with.
Jen?
No comments tonight.
I just want to say again, Happy New Year to everyone, and a note that our next meeting is going to be on a Tuesday, not a Monday, due to the MLK Junior Day holiday on the 19th. So we will be in this room on Tuesday, January 20th.
20th.
I just want to thank everybody for the great discussions tonight. We had a wide variety of topics to start the new year, and I thought they were really great.
Okay.
I just want to wish everybody a Happy New Year, and I look forward to getting this Public Art Committee off the ground at some point in the near future. And I'm excited about the grant, and I'm excited about working with all of you, and I hope we have a productive 2026.
Thanks. With all of the board's comments recorded, is someone interested in making a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.